Gents, I just want to pause the episode for a moment to let you know about the Strong Men of Value Academy. You will have heard me refer to it a number of times, and I want to bring more attention to it. So this isn't just a program, it's a life-changing environment and community of men who are focused on personal and professional growth. We're looking at areas of relationships, wealth, and health, things to help you thrive and maximize your life. Imagine having bi-monthly one-on-one coaching sessions with myself, weekly group coaching calls, and an incredible brotherhood of high achievers by your side. Now we're diving into resilience, leadership, and holistic growth to not just succeed in your career, but to thrive in your health and your relationships. Your journey to greatness, it starts here. So join the movement and you can apply for the Strong Men of Value Academy. You can head to themanthatcanproject.com to find out more. Episode 396. I can't believe it's nearly 400 episodes ago that the Man That Can Projects podcast started. Pretty exciting. Today's guest is my lovely wife. Off the back of the last couple of podcast episodes around long distance relationships, tips to make stronger relationships, also how to receive feedback, I thought, why not get the wife back on? It's our first podcast as husband and wife. We've done a couple previously, but in this conversation, Amy's currently over in LA at the moment, so haven't seen each other for 3 or 4 weeks, and I'm flying over in a week or so. But we spoke about what we feel has made our relationship stand, heading into our 9th year, learning how to communicate effectively, learning how to show respect and value each other, but also how to have tough conversations, and a whole other range of things that have worked really well for our relationship. So if you're in a relationship, if you're looking for, I guess, what's worked well for us, I'm not saying that we've got all the keys because we definitely don't, but if you feel you could learn something, this is going to be a cracking episode for you. And I'm actually really proud. Obviously, Amy's come off a whole day of songwriting in LA. So to have the energy and be able to, she dropped so many bombs. I was like, wow, this is awesome. I can't wait to share this with the Man That Can community. So you're going to get a heap of value now. If you're tuning in for the first time, welcome. It's so awesome to have you here, and thank you for investing your time. We definitely I always try to get the best guests on and also deliver valuable information and long-form content to help you better improve areas of your life so you can really reach your potential. And if you're returning back, well, awesome. Great to still have you guys here. I have just finished my 30 marathons in 30 days, which is an unofficial world record. I'm just waiting to hear back from Guinness World Record, which is awesome. And it's been cool to have seen how many other men and women completed marathons, and just also the experiences or the lessons that I had from that experience. And I've started recording a podcast with Wes. He's actually interviewing me, so I'm looking forward to getting that out in the next couple of weeks once I've had a bit more time to rest and reflect and really make sure I share the most powerful points from that experience. But something that I'm definitely proud of, and also this is my first day not rowing, so pretty pumped about that. But enough from me. Let's dive into today's episode. And remember, if you do get value, please share it. Please take the time to leave a review because you're helping the people in your communities gain value as well. The Man That Can Project podcast, a podcast empowering career-driven men to live more fulfilling lives. We are here to challenge your beliefs, redefine success, and talk about the important stuff in a relatable way. Don't forget to subscribe and leave a review. My name's Lachies, Stuart. Let's get into it.
Guess who's back?
Welcome
Back.
welcome to exercise. I was going to say exercise because I've been doing so much of it. Welcome to, and you were about to steal my intro.
Amy's back to the front.
This is your third time on the Man That Can Project podcast. Welcome everyone who's tuning in for episode 396.
Wow, wait.
This is the first time you've been on the show as my wife, though. Previously, you were just my partner. Yeah, my girlfriend.
Yeah, but we said partner because it's just more official than girlfriend, isn't it?
Yeah, well, you're right.
I've been promoted.
What's
promoted.
that?
Said I've been promoted.
It only took me 8 years or whatever it took. But Shep, you're over in LA at the moment. I'm sitting here in Brisbane. It's funny, we're both on the same time zone, though, even though you're across the world. Our sleep cycles, because you love staying up late and getting up late, whereas I get up early
Yeah, it's 9:40 p.m.
So
here.
way past my bedtime.
So that makes it 3 for you.
2:39, yeah. It's
Yeah.
it's worked out well. Now that the rows have finished, like up until the rows had finished, it was quite irritating because as I was about to start my rows, you just finished work for the day, so it was sort of your downtime. But then I was done for the next couple of hours, so it was hard to chat. And then obviously when you're waking up,
Unless I stayed up super late into like 1 a.m., 2 a.m., we didn't really get to chat.
which you enjoy doing though, anyway. It's
So
like a good excuse for you to stay up and scroll Reddit and do various other things.
Absolutely.
But the purpose of this podcast today is for the gentleman out there who the last couple of episodes I've done around long distance relationships. Obviously, at the moment you're overseas, I'm not. So there's a bit of distance between us. But also for the beginning of our relationship, you're traveling and touring a lot. So we pretty much classified ourselves as a long distance relationship, and we started out with, was it Snapchat or Viber, where you could video call, which was pretty fun.
Oh my gosh, I forgot about
Remember
Viber.
that one?
Yeah, it was Snapchat, but it was back when I don't know. I haven't used Snapchat in years, like since then, but you had to hold it because there was no such thing as FaceTime. There was like no Skype, so it was like all about Snapchatting each other. But then they brought in the live video, but you had to hold it down, and we would hold it for hours and chat. And
Thumb would get so sore.
Sometimes you'd accidentally let it slip, and you'd be like, "Oh," you'd get disconnected, and you get back on. Sorry
for all the young people. You've got it so easy now. All you do is push a video call button, and it's satisfied. But then I've also had an episode which I did with Sean last week on how to not get defensive with feedback, and obviously within relationships, it's important from time to time to give and receive feedback within the relationship. That was a really well-received episode. And the one before that was how to build a stronger relationship. And I think it's something that we can probably dive into a little bit today, really, which would be fun. But there was someone posted through a question. I'm really confused whether it was directed at me or for you. It was, what's it like dating someone famous? And obviously I've been on the radio a fair bit in the last 24 hours, so I assume that's for you.
Who's the celebrity?
Yeah.
Now, not sure.
I think it's for you. And obviously, what's it like being married to someone famous? I can't remember whether we answered this question last time you were on the show.
Well, let's answer it again. See, maybe our answers are different.
Yeah. All right. Well, for me, it's really weird because I don't even think that you're famous. I've never really, obviously you are, but in my eyes, you're still, the girl at home that I know, which is, I get to see you 24/7 usually. So I think people have a preconceived idea of you based on what they see in the media, based on what they see in social media and all that sort of stuff, whereas I don't really pay attention to all of that sort of stuff. I get to...
Yeah, it's so funny because I guess I could probably relate to that, what you're saying, because when we've been in a fortunate position to be able to have met a lot of famous people, and when you meet them, it's like, I don't know, just they're not famous anymore.
They're just people.
The way I see it, I don't get that fangirly moment. I don't know. Yeah, for me, when I meet the person, even if I'm like the biggest fan, it's just like, yeah, well, that kind of all fades away, and that excitement fades away, and you're like, oh, like they're legit just a person.
Yeah,
I don't know.
Exactly. And you weren't, I guess, famous when I first met you. That sort of came after. That's when
famous. But
now you didn't have a super global song.
Yeah, we met. We had written Geronimo, and I knew something exciting was coming our way. But I think we had released "Let Me Down Easy," and it some people knew it, some people didn't. And I think it was 2 or 3 weeks before we released Geronimo that we started hanging out.
No, it was a bit more than that. How can you not remember this timeline of our relationship?
All I remember is that We had written Geronimo.
Yeah, you had written Geronimo. You wrote Geronimo well before that.
We hadn't released it yet. Or maybe
what do you feel? All right, so what do you feel helped us sustain our relationship through that period when Geronimo took off and you were traveling in all around the world, etc., and I was still building houses in Toowoomba? What do you think enabled us to get through that challenging time?
It's a good question, but I think it was Snapchat.
So if you're not on Snapchat, get on Snapchat. I think what that boils down to, though, is probably communication. The fact that we made the time,
of course,
to chat daily, even though we weren't necessarily there. And we spoke, as you said, we spoke for fucking hours to the point where I had a sore thumb, and I'm probably going to have RSI. For me,
I just really appreciated having a bit of normalcy and a bit of I don't know, someone to talk to at the end of the day, someone who I knew didn't really care about all that other stuff. It was such a weird time in my life where people who I just, hadn't heard from since school or hadn't heard from since I was in primary school were reaching out, wanting to hang out and all that crap. So it was just nice to have someone to talk to every day, and not someone who really sees who you are is important to have.
And I think even from my perspective, I was still, I hadn't, I guess, really been, or actually I hadn't even started my growth journey really, essentially, where I'd started reading books and wanting to sort of better myself. So I know at the beginning there was a lot of insecurities on my end, and even jealousy. I still remember one day when I was like, Amy's going to drop my ass and I'm going to be kicked back to Toowoomba because I'm insignificant. She's going to be meeting all these famous people, and people are going to be throwing themselves at you. And I think that was a challenging time for me, and I think it's definitely something a lot of men can relate to, is that jealousy and insecurity. And
I was just probably feeling the same emotions, being seeing if you would go out, I'd be like, who are you with? What time did you get home? When, because you're feeling the exact same emotions.
Yeah.
So it's funny how you just got to not let that get the better of you. And we definitely had our moments where it did probably get the better of us on separate occasions, but
fucking earth.
What
do you reckon helped you from that aspect? Was there anything that I did, or?
I know it sounds weird, but I think just me really pushing the boundaries of I don't know, just knowing that at the end of the day you would always be there. And I did some, wild things, acted like a crazy person, but you were always there at the end of the day, and you're we're still okay. And
what do you mean acted like a crazy person?
Well, just I guess coming from other relationships and realizing that maybe you're not in such a safe relationship, maybe you're in a toxic relationship and you really aren't feeling secure, and then you bring those into your new relationships, all of those emotions into your new relationships as well. And I think it takes a while to actually realize that I'm actually with the right person, and Lockie went out and nothing happened, in the beginning of the relationship you check each other's phones or all of that crap.
I never checked your phone.
You just get
I'm kidding.
Don't lie.
No, I'm kidding.
I'm kidding, I did. But then you realize that it's okay, this person is actually legit and it's safe. And that's when you can you start to let go of those insecurities. Yeah,
you can start to actually, really cement the relationship. And I think that comes... What was that?
And you don't know. In the beginning, you don't know, and you can't really... it might all fail, and it is scary, but you've just got to kind of go along for the ride and do your best to control your emotions and hope that the other person on the other end is the person that you hope and think. And then if they're not, if you don't feel like they are, then just, I would recommend not wasting any more time. Because if they're toxic, you're going to know about it.
Definitely. And I think it's about feeling valued and heard. And I think we all carry baggage. into the relationship. So it's not just like just drop it and forget it, but it's, I guess, collectively as a relationship or as a couple learning to work through that. And I think when you start out in a relationship, it's easy to turn a blind eye to certain things. Obviously you kicked me out of a cab in Thailand when I was drunk and being an absolute wanker. And that was probably a good, I knew I had an issue with alcohol, and that was probably one of the defining moments in my life as to why I stopped drinking a lot, because, you can really fuck things up with that. And that's not how I want it to be, but it's also, you gave me the opportunity to, I guess, improve. And obviously it's not just saying, I'll be better, which a lot of people do. It's like, I actually backed that up, and I don't, even still now, 8 years later, I don't drink a whole heap because I don't want to put myself in that situation. Not saying I ever would again, but it's also just, if you don't want to be in that situation, why play with fire? If you don't want to get burnt. So I think it's definitely important to do that. But then obviously once that honeymoon period wears off, it's then starting to get clear on what the relationship dynamics look like and learning to really trust. And as you were saying before, when it's like you hope that person is who you think they are. A lot of people hold back and they go in reserved because they have been burnt in the past or whatever experiences they've had, and they don't actually ever get to fully give themselves to that relationship. So even if it does fall apart, you go, I told you so, but it's like, we never really gave it the best shot anyway. So you almost got to, if you want, I guess, that incredible relationship. And I was talking to Benny about this the other night, because he's like, how did you know like Amy was the one, like that one? And I'm like, well, at the beginning, it's like you're obviously smitten by each other and everything like that. But then it's, as I was starting to work out who I was and what I wanted in my life, the things that I thought I wanted, like partying and all that sort of stuff, wasn't important to me. And I think you're very supportive with me in the lifestyle, like, a bit more health focused and caring and all of these sorts of things that maybe in the beginning I didn't really care about. I didn't think I needed, because I was a tough bloke. So I think when I got more clear on what I actually wanted and what a good life would look like for me, and what a good relationship was, not a toxic one, because I'd been in I was the main culprit in toxic relationships in the past due to insecurities, jealousies, etc. I didn't want to bring any of that into this sort of one, which obviously also I'm sure helped with your, whether it was, as you said, things that you needed to trust in me to make sure that I wasn't like previous partners and stuff like that.
I think we just like met at the right time as well, in terms of
fucking oath.
Ready for a mature relationship. And I think that helps as well. Like, you're willing to go the extra mile to make it work as well.
It's not like I don't annoy you now. I definitely do, and sometimes I go out of my way to do it. But I think one of the important things as well is, and we don't actually fight. Like, I was saying that to Ben the other day. I was like, we literally don't have those screaming fucking fights that maybe you see on movies and stuff. And I have clients that talk about that, and I'm like, I just don't understand. Don't get me wrong. I've done that with previous partners because I didn't understand how to control my emotions. But now it's like, why would I? And don't get me wrong, I do sometimes be a dick, 100%, but I don't flip off, or I probably can count on a hand the amount of times that I have. And I think a lot of that comes.
You see it a lot in relationships where they fight, and it's like awkward if you're there at the time and in the middle of it. But I think we've really come to learn how to communicate properly with each other and say things how it is, and then, or just talk about it before it escalates. I think that really helps as well. Just being like, hey, that wasn't cool, I didn't like that, and then the other person would actually
and obviously it doesn't sound like that. Sometimes we do get, not like, it's just like in the heat of emotion there might be tears or whatever, but it's like, don't be a dick, Lachie.
Or just pretty much like, don't be a dickhead, and then actually taking that on board and making a change rather than getting defensive and arcing up back, you know. I think that really helps. It's to like actually acknowledge when you're wrong as well. Take it on board.
Which I never am, so I haven't had to do that yet. No, I'm wrong quite often. But definitely I think...
And then moving on as well.
Yeah, learning to actually let it rest. I know there's so many people who, for example, if they make a mistake, they go, okay, well, have we agreed to let this sort of settle and move forward? People will bring it up in 6 months' time or 9 months' time. It's like, well...
old issues into new fights just means it's unresolved from last time. So I think we really do try and resolve things there and then.
Exactly.
If you would agree
more. I definitely agree. I was trying to think about, like, from a communication standpoint, like, there are often, you know, sometimes conversations that you have to have that are challenging, sometimes uncomfortable, but, you know, I guess whether you do it in what way works best for you, or even how your partner chooses to best, I guess, receive feedback, because you and I are both obviously very busy. When I say busy, I mean we've got a lot of stuff happening, so trying to make the time to actually, or not even trying, just making sure we invest the time together and all our needs are met, and we're prioritizing the relationship, because it can be very easy to, you know, get phone call after phone call, email after email, and obviously we're both heavy on social media as well, so it's like you're constantly checking things going on there, and it's, you know, it's a trap, but it's also then the importance of actually prioritizing what you want from the relationship: date nights, time without phones, time with other, you know, our friends and everything like that as well.
Yeah, I think I would agree with that.
I was hoping you were going to help me leapfrog that part of the conversation. I was
going to say something, but I think you just summed it up really nicely. Just making the time and committing to that time as well. It is easy to pick up the phone. I know you tell me off for it all the time,
and vice versa. Like
we try and have dinner together. I think that's like a really important thing for us, is to like have that
dinner time.
Yeah, we just don't have phones. Nobody else is there. It's just us.
We can't tell you what goes down there, but
eating.
No, we eat food. I was like, the fuck?
How erotic.
Yeah, how amazing. There's green vegetables. No, but I think for a lot of people, because they, you know, I think one of the things that I really love about you, and I think has hugely benefited, I guess, me in our relationship and me being able to be more comfortable and secure, is the fact that you're really clear on who you are as a woman. Like, you don't take or tolerate any shit. So it's very easy for you to pull me up when I'm slacking or doing whatever, which obviously holds me to a higher standard. And I hope I sort of do that as well. And I think obviously because we're both quite ambitious, it motivates like that. We're in a very driven household, but we also
like an equal household as well. Like,
fuck yeah.
You come home and you're like, I've been at work all day and expect me to cook and clean. Like, that's obviously was never going to happen in this relationship. And it is a really nice moment when we're both cooking, we're both cleaning, and you know, we don't expect the other person. Like, I don't expect you to be the breadwinner, and just like
I'm fucking not.
Never. And that's fine if that works for your relationship, but for us, I feel like we just do a lot of the tasks together, and we make our lives happen together. And I think that's been very helpful in our relationship, because we're.
Do you reckon I feel like we never. Like, obviously we've spoken about it a few times when I've been a bit lazy and things like that, but I think because we had such a respect for each other, and obviously we've had relationships in the past and we've learned what's not worked well in those and things like that, we've just, that mutual respect has helped us sort of just naturally go, right, well, if Amy's cooking tonight, I'll clean, or vice versa. Although sometimes when I'm trying to cook, you always jump in because you don't trust me. Because I forget the fucking salt and garlic. Hey? The onion.
Salt, garlic, butter. That's all you need to do. And sugar for cooking. That's the secret ingredient.
Yeah.
Yeah, but it's just treating your partner as a person and not just like a slave or someone who you want to mold or make your perfect person, because you've got to work together to create a life that you want. Sounds so cliche, but it's so true. Like, you have a partner to share life with, not to make your life better.
Yeah, exactly. They're not a loving slave.
Yeah, exactly.
We just come home and everything's done. But we know, I guess we never really spoke about, like, we obviously have since, but I think it just came from a place of respecting each other that we naturally just did those things. And obviously it's still not expected. Like, I don't come home, as you said, every night expecting dinner or vice versa. And I don't expect all these other things, but it's like nice when you get that. And one of the books, I remember when I first read the 5 Love Languages, because I was always like, I just don't understand why, Amy, you buy me gifts all the time. Like, you're always just so thoughtful and caring with that. And I was like, I don't really care for gifts. And then I read the 5 Love Languages and I was like, it's because Amy loves gifts. That's her love language, and I never buy you stuff.
Yeah, no, I don't know. I think I'm over that, though. Can your love languages change?
I'm sure they can. Everything can change. But yeah, I was always like, that's why when I bought you flowers about 5 years ago, it was the greatest day ever. I'm still trying to pay off the wedding ring.
Yeah, maybe. I don't know. Maybe it is still my love language.
I think it definitely is. But like, definitely.
It makes me sound so materialistic.
Well, it's not even that. Like, you just always do nice things for me. Like, when you left to America, you left a card in my drawer saying, well, I'm not going to give away all the juicy details, but you left a card in my sock drawer. Like, things like that is still a gift. And it's like you giving of your time. You just do all these really nice. If you go to the shops, you'll bring home me a little chocolate mousse or something. There's always thoughtfulness in everything. Yeah. Whereas like, I'm really like, right, I'm going to the shop. I'm just going to get steak and potatoes. That's it. Nothing else. Whereas for me, it's like I try to give time or whatever, because that's what I enjoy. But it's obviously then going, well, Amy loves gifts. I need to get, and even saying this now, I'm like, fuck, I'm useless with that. I need to get better at that.
Yeah, but it's, as you said, it's not always like, it doesn't have to be an expensive gift. It can just be like a little something to remind them that you were thinking of them. Or
it's even, it's not even the expensive stuff that isn't what matters. It's like the thoughtful stuff, like where you have to make, like, time goes into it, or, like the wedding gift I gave you, actually you got me a really thoughtful one as well, but I made the photo album for us, but it just didn't arrive in time. It arrived the day after we left, but you got it when you got back. Like, for me, that's like
bracelet.
Oh yeah, I did too. I'm the jewelry king. Lucky Hogan's a jeweler. Yeah, and that bloody whopper. Indeed. But what, I guess, for people who are struggling in relationships or just feel like they continually have bad luck in relationships, what advice would you give for them?
For people who have bad luck in relationships?
Or just feel like obviously there's no bad luck. There's just really, we need to be aware of where we're fucking up, or what we're, whether we're choosing the wrong people, or we've got to work on our communication or our, emotional management. What would you sort of advice would you give to them to build a thriving relationship?
Yeah. Could be all of the above. And also just, I just think that people have this idealistic view that their partner is going to be this incredible soulmate that's going to sweep them off their feet and it's going to be like the movies. And when realistically, it's probably not like that. You have the honeymoon phase, but that you've got to be aware that dies off, and then you've got to put in some work and have commitment to this person, commitment to yourself, that you're going to get better and you're going to make it work because you love this person and you know that you guys get along, you're going to spend a lot of time together. And if you can't see yourself really growing old with the person, then yeah, maybe move on. But
what the fuck are you doing?
Yeah, but I do think that people probably give up a little bit too easily as well because the person's not their quote unquote dream girl, dream guy.
And
I
also
think just putting in a little bit of effort goes a long way.
And just also not thinking the grass is greener. Like, I had a conversation with a client about it the other day, and I was like, what do you, like, the best way to appreciate what you've got, because anything that you've had, or like if you've been in a relationship for long enough, it's really easy to take even the smallest things for granted. Like, you know, bringing you a cup of coffee every morning. No, but things, it's very easy. So, you know, taking the time each morning to say, what's one thing I appreciate about my partner? Like, because it's really, yeah, once you know, I'm sure you get frustrated at me for fucking leaving my shoes at the door or various other things like that. And it's like, in the grand scheme of things, it's not a big fucking deal. No. But when you see that, you then start to notice all the other things that irritate you, and that irritation then grows and can make you be a little bit pissed off with your partner. So it's going, okay, well, the shoes are there, fair play, I can pick that up and we can move on. But what's one thing that I really appreciate about my partner? That, you know, because, you know, it's not given. You think about how many people probably died today, which is going very morbid. But if your partner were to walk out the door, or wife or husband or whatever, and they weren't to come back, what would you miss most about them? And it's those things that we need to focus on, because they're the things that we get every day, but we take for granted.
Yeah, it's so true.
So I get my 7:30 message from you every day.
Yeah. Yeah, and I think just that the grass isn't always greener is like the point I was trying to make. It's like people are always like, oh, relationship's gone stale, but it's like, has it, or have you just stopped putting in effort? Because, you know, you're going to get into a new relationship and it's going to be all exciting again for the first 2 months, and then, oh, it's gone stale again. It's like we have so many exciting adventures, but it's not always like that. Like most days are just normal, you know, like we wake up, work, dinner, repeat, sleep, repeat. But then you have those magical moments where you just remember, you're like, oh, that, like the little honeymoon phase comes back for a minute or for, you know, a period of time. And, you know, you can't expect that to be real life.
And I think as well, you know, we fall into that trap, both of us. But, you know, I think about, remember when we started doing those walks at the City Loop, when you were wanting to walk, and I started coming, and like, as much as I was always like, fuck, that's like 2 hours out of my day, it was still so fun doing that. Like, you know, moments like that, I think, because once again, we do fall into those routines, you know, Monday to Friday. Obviously weekends, we allow a bit more flexibility in what we choose to do. However, on the weekdays, it's like, I want to be in bed by a certain time. We want to cook dinner. We want to do this, that, and the other. We're getting emails. But when you can actually, it doesn't hurt anyone. It doesn't do anything to, especially yours and my business, for us to go, let's go for a fucking walk. And it's so fun because it's literally just us checking out whatever's going on and having a good time. And so I think for me personally, I just, from what you said then, I'm like, I take those things for granted. And it's probably when you get back something we should rejig. Even when we caught the city cat, like that was a fucking mission, but it was fun at the same time. Like, just,
you know what I think was really fun? What? And like little magic moments, talking about those the little moments that you really appreciate and don't take for granted. But when we were learning our wedding dance, it's like just a fun, weird experience that we probably won't do again. But it was just like a moment where we just like were fully focused on the moment and like trying to learn dance moves.
That was fun.
Yeah, that was fun. We just like cleared out our living room space to try and learn these dance moves. And yeah, that was a really special time, I think.
Well, maybe I was actually thinking about it this morning in Nashville, like surely we're going to do some line dancing.
Line dancing?
Surely there's going to be, I'm bringing my boots over. You're going to buy me a big hat.
Okay. Sounds good.
One would only hope we're going to do a bit of heel and toe.
I'm going to eat some fried chicken, tell you that much.
Definitely. And once again, like, even for, obviously we don't have children yet, but for those who have children, you know, we've got a lot of friends who have children, and one of the cool things that I guess watch for them is they still prioritize their relationship. Obviously, you know, the kid becomes the center, but if you neglect what was, you know, the beginning of that life was the relationship. So making sure you do still go out with friends and make time to do the things that you really enjoy, because otherwise you can get obviously extremely tired, fucking agitated and pissed off at each other. And then once again, you get into that bad feedback loop. We just need to be more aware around what's going to bring you the best relationship.
Yeah, it's going to be interesting when we do get to that part of our lives.
Someone said to me the other day, they're like, you guys are going to have extremely athletic babies because you rode a marathon and I rode a marathon. They're like, they're going to be fucking weapons. And I was like, I can only hope.
Well, you never know.
Well, I do never know, but, you know, if people are saying that, then let's hope that it sort of brings it into reality. I don't care. I'll be fine.
Well, as long as I don't have to get up and watch the cricket on a Saturday morning.
Well, I've been laughing so hard at this because so I get to Nashville in 8 days or something. And I said to you, I was like, let's go see some sport, and every sport is finished except for baseball. I don't understand baseball, but I assume it's probably very similar. Hey?
I said at least we'll be in the same boat.
Yeah, but I assume it's much like cricket. You hate cricket. I enjoy cricket.
I like cricket.
I think it's going to go for like 4 or 5 hours. We're going to eat a lot of hot dogs, drink some beers, and choose a team to barrack for.
Leave after the first hot dog.
No. Yeah, no. We'll make the most of it. But I think we'll wrap it up there. For everyone who's tuned in, if Amy does a cameo appearance every 12 months.
I hope I give some okay advice. I
think at the end of the day, it's not even advice we're giving. It's a conversation around
I'm not a relationship
things that have helped us, and everyone who listens, it's like it may help you or it may not. It may tell you what not to do for you. You know, not everyone's the same as us, obviously. However, if you are wanting tips and tricks or just different perspectives, then you definitely would have picked something up.
Yeah.
Because we're, nearly 9 years old.
Oh, gosh. Can't believe it.
Flipping hell. And I still look like I'm 21.
And I wish I could say the same.
Thank you for coming on. You've got a Patreon now, so if there's any Sheilas listening and you want to jump on some body positivity and country music, which is obviously my favorite as well, head over to our Patreon, just your Instagram.
Patreon.com/Amy Sheppard Pie.
And get into the inside scoop of what's happening there. But thank you for coming on, darling. Obviously this is our phone call for the night, so
date night.
This is our date night while you're abroad and I'm chilling in Brisbane. But I'll be over in 8 days. So for everyone who's tuning in for the first time, thank you for tuning in. Make sure you hit follow on whatever platform you're now watching on. Leave a review as well. That's always helpful. And I look forward to sharing the next episode with you.
All right. Thanks for having me on. Thanks for listening, everyone.
Thank you for listening to the Man That Can Project podcast. My name is Lachies Stuart, and I hope you enjoyed this episode and found it helpful. If you did, please take a moment to rate and review the Man That Can Project on your favorite podcast platform. And don't forget to subscribe to stay up to date with our newest episodes. We'll see you again next time.